First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshua, Bashem, Rakak, Wadash. And I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone for teaching this truth time and time again, showing us we men of the Lord, the water Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshua, Bashem, Rakak, Wadash. And get to this lesson.
See what's going on. The roof was caved in, and bricks were laying all on the ground. I just thought, this is horrific. There's no.
Just you see what happened. This is people not expecting what is going around in the world. They sound shocked as probably a fake actor, but what just went on was 18,000 cows were killed in the explosion fire at Texas dairy farm. Maybe the largest cattle killing ever in one place, but it has been times when a lot of cows have died before. One in 2015 was 20,000, but that was through the whole state of Texas, not in one place. But the largest cattle killing ever, and this was April. This was published April 17th, and well, first we have to understand that they're attacking our food. They're attacking our food right now, so we're not ignorant. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. And I'm going to get into the article. Also been a lot of train derailments. So if you go into it, it's like they're attacking the water supply. It's a war on our food. The elder just did a lesson about how they put in the messenger, juicy juice in the food. And giving us that hydrobolus and all that stuff inside the food, making you eat it. But the Lord did tell us that we were going to eat our food defiled among the Gentiles. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of, for we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. So, just as every time a war tactic is to get rid of like blockades or control the food supply. You can control the food supply, you starve the people out before they attack them. So we know what the Lord has put the spirit on these Edomites to attack his people. And so it's going to be scarce, and then as they're putting that, hydro, the juicy juice in the food, we have to live on faith, because this is what the Lord said. Even though we try to just stay away from more meats and even vegetables, but they're going to start putting it in that too. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them. And no enchantment of Jacob. But without the Lord, and you don't have you through. So let's go into this article and just get a little bit more clarification. Because I waited on this, because when they do the first, as the elders say, this is just clickbait. But once you have to start getting more of the information to understand, and I know a little bit about farming, so I know that these numbers are crazy, because 18,000 cows have died. You know how many people a cow can feed? One cow is 1,000 pounds of meat. Usually you won't get all that meat, but a steer, even if a steer is like, you have to weigh in probably 1,500 pounds, the skeleton, the head, most of the skin and the organs, you get about 1,000 pounds of cut meat. A retail cut 430 pounds, 1,000 pounds, depending on, but 430 pounds. Like when they tell retail cut, they're talking about like the ribs, the back, the butt, all these uh, things. And like you ever wonder why they said quarter pounder? Because that's a quarter. Usually you don't eat that much meat, so that's enough to feed 240 people a serving a day. Or how long can one cow feed a family? Look at this: 12 to 18 months. A regular size family with 3 children. 12 to 18 months. So just to give you how much of meat of the world's meat supply, how that had. Well, just United States, it took a big percentage out of that meat supply. As the ongoing situation with this chicken with her, so we're gonna eat our food defiled, but more on this article. As a preview version, a fire spread quickly through the holding pen, and where thousands of dairy cows crowded together, waiting for trapped in deadly confinement. And then dairy cows, you still usually eat them, but they usually they call them because they don't die until old age. Well, not very old age. Because if you got milked every day for a certain amount of time, it's hard on the animal, so they usually call them. But Sadhu in Texas dairy farm, 18,000 head of cattle perish in fire of South Fort Dairy Farm near Dimmitt, Texas, or about 20% of the cattle slaughtered in America on any given day. So that's 18,000. 20,000, 20% of American slaughter died that day in a fire. And if you ever want to know the numbers, it's a little animal clock of how many animals are killed. And this is this year for food this year. So this is the 4th month, almost over, halfway through the 4th month. This is how many animals are needed to feed the U.S. economy. And of course, they have a bunch of unclean animals. Look at 36 million in shellfish. That's fucking ridiculous. And these 3 animals are unclean, so you shouldn't be eating that anyway. Look at 1,800 gallons of water used, and these trained Israelis are destroying. This is how much a population needs, and how much it's using, and how much it's getting destroyed through these trained Israelis. But we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. It's mind-blowing. We're going to skip around in this. Mind-blowing, Dimmitt Mayer said. I didn't think it would ever happen around here. Great tragedy. Yeah, but when you have the devil coming and trying to attack you and using wars of tactics on the U.S. military, that's crazy. And the biggest thing, and when you have these dairy farmers, they're usually in these steel cages 4x4 with enough room so it can just go back and forth a couple feet, but not much room. And they have a machine. So imagine you being locked in a jail cell. It's just like the jail would be on fire and they just left you for dead. How many cows died in the dairy? 18,000, enough for 26 football fields. So that's just to see how big it is. Easily surpassing the previous high in 2020, upstate New York dairy farm that consumed 400 cows. See the difference? A policy associated at the Institute. Texas is the deadliest fire involving cattle we know, she said. In the past, we have several fires involving hundreds of cows at a time, but nothing near this more morality. Drop down. What caused the dairy? This is a malfunction in a piece of farm equipment may have caused the explosion to lead to the farm. I have worked in type of farm and industrial types of farms like this, and they have someone on watch. Like you get certain periods of your schedule. Like we had like 3 people working. Even on Saturday and Sunday, you have to. There's no off days because animals eat every day. So you just go and do and just check around and feed animals. You have to look around. So for it takes a long time for a fire to just start, and usually they don't. Which is it's by law that you have to store your chemicals in a concealed in different area than that's easily accessible to take out fires in its own special area, like fertilizer and things that have to be dangerous, because it's certain how you can't. Not everybody can even just walk into a farm. You have to wash in and out. Is the practices for these kinds of situations. He said dairy farmers opened an area just over a year ago, employs 50 to 60 people, and no people died by that way. You asked if you, not one person died, but some were injured. How many cows were killed in the dairy fire? 90% of that farms died, with each cow value roughly about, this is where 2,000 pounds. The company lost its livestock could stretch into the tens of millions of dollars. That doesn't include equipment. I'm saying like $18,000, $2,000 a cow. That number is going to go up since it's such a big value. Have it came out of the you're looking at a disastrous loss, she said. So just go. So let's get into the scripture. As the Lord, so we're going to continue Ezekiel, the 4th chapter. And the Lord said, even thus, the children of Israel shall eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles where I drove them. Then said I, Lord God, behold, my soul has been not me, have been polluted for my youth, even till now have I not eaten that which died of itself, and is torn to pieces, neither came there abominable flesh in my mouth. This is what Ezekiel is saying, that he hasn't, because you're not supposed to eat roadkill. This is the law. Like anything that just dies from oldness or sickness, stuff like that die of itself or torn to pieces. Then he said unto me, I have given thee cow's dung for food. It's just going, but going to the point. I'm gonna drop down. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care. Look at that. So how many families? It could feed a family for 12 to 18 months. Just one cow. So how much food and all that stuff that it would have been valued. So if this keep happening, massive taking from the food, when people, the Lord is using these people, which is called the rod, to break the staff of bread of this place, and they shall eat with weight by rationing, and then especially in the ongoing war, just like during World War II, they were giving people ration cards, and they can only get a certain amount of food. Kind of works like how like SNAP works, when they give you the tickets when you're like young and you have your parents get on it, they have to like get a certain amount. Like that's why when back in the day you would either have like a lot of kicks and a lot of certain milk and nothing else, because they would make sure you're fed, because they always wanted milk in your refrigerator for some reason. And then with care, so they're gonna really pay watching everything you eat, like family to family, being no food in Babylon. It's going to be crazy. And they shall drink water by measure with astonishment. Because you won't even be able, all these children rainbows, you won't even be able to go outside anywhere to drink any water. They, it's like, oh, you didn't die? You have to find people with like, because like a lot of rich people have their alkaline systems that got big like in the past 2 years. They put it through their house to alkaline their water, and they can drink it straight from the tap. You can't do that. It actually doesn't cost as much on what the health benefits, but it's still a couple $1,000s. Be astonished, be not astonished one another, some away from iniquity. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall be found empty. So a farm just lost 90% of its cattle. You know, it's a massive farm in Texas, but usually you don't know since all the years, because for the past few years, farmers haven't really been making that much money, which is normal in farming. You will have a year that you don't make money for 5 years, but you never lose $10 million worth of product and a whole barn. So they have to do more rebuilding, have to buy more cattle. So that's double. So not only do they not gain the money that they already paid for those cows by raising them, feeding them every day, and for the farming area, employees, because they're definitely going to have to pay money for the ones that were injured, uh, pain and suffering. They're going to have to pay fines by the country, state insurance fines, all these, and the insurance might give them money for the building, but it's no way they can be able to pay for all those the farm animals, the values of how much money, and then the restocking it. So they pretty much might even have to bankrupt, and the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. So all this is going on, and all these children rumors and water destroying, and the chickens diseases. That it's going to be times as it has been since the vid. These places that you would think would have food, Walmart, they're gonna just more empty shelves there and there and there, and the triumph shall give a sound which, when every man heareth, they shall by suddenly be afraid, and at the time shall friend fight one against another like enemies. So when people start eating each other, or not being able to feed their family because of all these accidents, people are gonna start hating each other. They'll see someone, man, he looks happy. He's probably eating. He's gonna go over there and bust their head open with a baseball bat, or go and just like kidnap your family for a fucking bag of beans, and then you won't give it to them. They might, and you won't have food either. But they seen that you were eating longer than them. He's gonna camp out and wait until you leave, and then cook you up. And it shall fear, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of water shall stand still, and 3 hours they shall not run. And the attack on the water, these are war tactics that armies use to starve out before they attack people. So and the Lord said it, just like Revelation 8th chapter, He's going to mess with the angels, put judgment on these seas and waters, and look at how many rivers and lakes are getting poisoned. I'm gonna have to end it real quick. I want to get this scripture. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the beast I'm gonna start at 5. The 65. And when he have opened the third seal, I heard a third beast, and come and see, and behold, lo, a black horse, and he sat on it, having a pair of balances in his hand. Like judgment, famine, judgment. And I heard, and the pairs of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure for wheat for a penny. If you go into that word, penny, denarian, denarian.
Strong's G 1220. Denarian. Denarian.
Which means containing 10. Or if you were, that was in common Rome, that was a day's wage. For 3 measures of barley for a penny, and 3 measures, a measure of wheat for a penny for a day's wage, and 3 measures of barley for a day's wage. And it's kind of funny. Like, barley can also be used for beer, but all this stuff, which is commonly, because I think you need 10 measures of wheat for a slice of, for a whole loaf of bread. So this is just a whole day's wage for a meal to eat. And see not you heard the oil and wine. And it's not talking about the natural. This is this truth, because this is the only how you're going to be able to eat. That's how the Lord said, my servant shall eat. Everyone else shall be thirsty and hungry. And we're seeing what's going down. With that, I want to give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Rakakwadash. And remember, we know the Satan, the Lord gave power onto Esau Edom to take peace from the earth. So we have to understand that he's they said, hide me from the judgment of the wicked, because they are thy sword, I believe, roughly paraphrasing. So that I want to give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Rakakwadash, the water Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, the water Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, the water Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. So